Policy is a disaster not only because it's creating a greater humanitarian crisis, it's a disaster because it flies in the face of the tradition in the United States of allowing people seeking asylum to make that claim and to remain in the safety of the United States.
Former San Antonio mayor and Democratic presidential candidate Julian Castro speaking out tonight against America's handling of asylum seekers.
Castro crossed the International Bridge in Brownsville today to visit with asylum-seeking migrants waiting in Mexico for their immigration court hearing.
Eyewitness News reporter Vanessa Croy is there with details.
Secretary Castro is in Brownsville criticizing a program called Migrant Protection Protocols, otherwise known as Remain in Mexico. Now you can see the white tents behind me next to the International Bridge here in Brownsville, where at least 1,000 asylum seekers are waiting across the border to have their day in court, hoping to seek asylum here in the U.S. And it's a program that Secretary Castro is calling a disaster. He's also calling on the Trump administration to end it. In perhaps one last chance to raise his rankings in the latest polls and qualify for the November debate, Castro walked across the bridge in Brownsville into Matamoros, where he visited a refugee camp set up with over 1,000 migrants waiting to get their day in immigration court and seek asylum into the U.S. It's a program many know as the Remain in Mexico policy. Castro is taking on this hot-button issue he knows well, since the immigration crisis has affected his home state. Castro says the Trump administration isn't protecting the migrants and is not placing them in humanitarian shelters, but placing them in deplorable conditions and their lives in danger.
A lot of families along the border who are part of this MPP program have been subjected to violence. Some have been kidnapped, some have been extorted, some have been treated a lot worse than what they were fleeing from. And I call on the administration to end the MPP Remain in Mexico program immediately.
Castro is calling on the Trump administration to end the policy and find a more humane way of helping asylum seekers. His solution is helping them find their families here in the U.S. until they have their day in court. Secretary Castro told us that he brought 13 people to border agents today, asking them to be excluded from the migrant protection protocols so they can wait out their time for immigration court here in the U.S. Secretary Castro said they'd find out later this afternoon if they've been approved. Reporting on the U.S.-Mexico border, Vanessa Croy, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.